is about to start. A new year is about to start. A year full of possibility and
Testing.
hope.
Testing. Well, we got a couple more people coming in, but I want to wish you welcome back to Esperanza. Yeah. I hope you had a great summer. There's been a lot going on, which you're going to hear, especially starting with Dr. Evelyn Nunez's, I guess, our State of the Union address or State of Esperanza address. But welcome back. We hired over 100 new faculty, staff, administration this summer. Woo, yeah, woo. And many of them been here for the last 2 weeks getting ready. You're going to see on Thursday, if you have not been to the elementary building yet, you are all invited to the elementary building for its grand opening and the 25th anniversary of Esperanza Academy. We'll also be hearing from Rev. Luis Cortez also later this morning. So, hope you again had a wonderful summer. There are over 100 new staff members. Again, let that sink in. There's a lot of new people, so if you look around, you're going to probably be seeing at least somebody you've never seen before. That's like 1 out of every 2 people here, 1 out of every 3 people here. But it is my duty today, not just to welcome you back, but to welcome our CEO and Superintendent, Dr. Evelyn Nunez. I haven't even introduced you yet, so hold on. I've got a written up introduction here. So many of you've read and have heard Dr. Nunez's bio. I'm not going to read that again. You can find it online. You find it as you get to know her, and you know that she is a excellent and capable educationist as well as education leader. So let me approach this a little differently. Dr. Nunez has now served Esperanza Academy Charter School for a little over a year. During this time, she's guided the academy. Now this is, I like success in the 21st century. That's our mission. If you remember the last couple of years, we've unpacked the mission through our value statements, which were intentionally written to begin with each statement, students and staff who are critical thinkers, socially capable, spiritually sensitive, culturally aware. And if you've gotten to know Dr. Evelyn Nunez, you know she reflects all of these. She embodies the mission. Beginning with the 25-26 school year, beginning this year, Esperanza Academy will be educating students from kindergarten to associate degrees. Again, let that sink in. To paraphrase the opening of Star Trek, we will boldly go where Esperanza has not gone before. It is a privilege to introduce our CEO and superintendent to boldly lead us into the years to come. Please warmly welcome Dr. Evelyn Nunez.
Good morning, everyone. Those who know me know I cannot stand behind a podium, right? It's a pleasure to welcome you all back. It's great to see those of you that are returning. Great to see you all here, and our new members of our family, welcome back. It's been great spending the last 2 weeks with all of you. So we are welcoming the 2025-2026 as a year of celebrations. This year, we're celebrating 25 years in educating students in the Hunting Park section of Philadelphia. So while we will be doing a whole lot of different things this year, one of the areas that we're really focusing on is that celebration of 25 years. But when we think about what that legacy means, right? We opened up the academy in 1995. We started with very humble beginnings, striving, right, dreaming of educating this community. And Reverend Cortez, who will be addressing us later on, really thought about doing this work through impacting high school students. But this year, we're happy, we're excited, we're overjoyed that we now have the full continuum of educating students starting in kindergarten. But over the 25 years, we have educated more than 40,000 students. We have Graduated since 2004. We dust a couple of papers here and there. Since 2004, we've educated or graduated 3,281 high school students. This school year, we will be educating from kindergarten, as Dr. Palladino said, through associate's degree, through college, 2,235 students in total. Thousands of our alumni continue to thrive throughout Philadelphia and other spaces, but we're mostly proud of our alumni who have decided to return to Esperanza and have continued to serve this community. We also will be continuing to celebrate some of our progress. So proud to talk to you today for the returning staff, to celebrate your contribution, right? Not only to each and every student that we serve, but the outcomes that we will be talking about later on this morning. We want to continue to celebrate, again, that we continue to improve student engagement. For those of you that have been with us for several years, student engagement is an area that we have talked a lot about and have been very intentional. How do we better engage students in their school experience? So we have shown, the data is showing, right, the feedback we're getting from our students, from families, from all of you, our student outcomes is showing that we are making progress in those areas. Talked a little bit already about the expansion of our K-12. It's been a dream for many years. We're now going to start living that dream. We have enhanced our culture and climate at the Academy, and we'll continue to do that moving forward. And last but not least, staff collaboration. We have heard from you over and over again how important it is for us to be a united force, for us to have opportunities on an ongoing basis to collaborate not only with the staff members or the teachers that are next door, but across the entire spectrum of Esperanza. And we continue to provide those opportunities. So let's just take a moment. I know that you're all probably still thinking about the last month and a half. Hopefully you had some time to spend with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, some time with yourself to relax. But would love for us to sort of get grounded, right? And think for a moment about our intention, our purpose, our why. Last year, we've had opportunities to hear from each other. The why we chose to get into this career. For our new members, in the last 2 weeks, we spent some time talking about our purpose and our why. So I'm going to ask each and every one of you to take a moment to think about either that person who has had an impact in your life or your purpose to why you chose to impact the life of children, specifically the children that we serve here at Esperanza Academy. As you think about your purpose or your why, remember that we do this because we want to build not only each and every child that we impact here today, but we are building what the future looks like. And we know that each day, each month, each week, each year, life gets harder, right? We are building our students to face the unknown of our future every single day, to teach them how to read, write, or whatever your area of expertise is. We all should be standing together, knowing that you matter in this organization. So, we can talk about this a lot, but we're going to continue to be intentional in how we support you. Last year when I started in the academy, I talked about one of the most valuable assets of any organization are the people. And quite often in schools, and we will continue to do that, we keep children at the center. But we can't forget that if we want to keep children at the center, we have to also take care of ourselves. You have to take care of you. We as an organization have to take care of you. So this school year, we're going to build even further on how do we better support you as the staff members of Esperanza Academy. These are just some examples of what you will start to see evolving this school year that may be a little different than in the past. We hope to have wellness rooms for the adults, for you. Some of these initiatives, we always want to provide these resources for students, but we want to be intentional to ensure that our staff are also well taken care of. We want to provide Wellness Wednesdays. We talked about this last year. Wednesdays, we will have an early release. That will be time to pour into you, to build your capacity as educators, right? To provide an opportunity for deeper collaboration and an opportunity for you to reflect and take care of yourself as well. We hope to have in the spring a staff wellness day, more to come with that. And then we also want to provide some resources and professional development around resilience, self-care, and maintaining what is so important, has always been important, but especially in today's time, a work-life balance. We know that in order for you to pour into others, you have to pour into yourself. And that's why we are being extra intentional, ultra intentional, in ensuring that we are taking care of you as well. So with that said, I want to talk a little bit about our goals for the upcoming year. For those of you that are returning, these are not new goals. We're going to continue to stay focused in ensuring that we increase the proficiency level of our students. We've talked about the purpose of assessments. We know that students are more than that test. But at the end of the day, those are the measures that the city, the state, and the nation are effective or not. So we're going to stay focused in improving our proficiency levels in ELA, math, and science, and decreasing our below basic numbers. Our second goal talks about student attendance. We've made some growth in student attendance. We're going to continue to focus on that. This year, if you notice, we've upped what we're striving for. Last year, our goal was 75% of students to maintain 90%. This year, we're shooting for 95%. The shared services team and our directors of instruction and our directors of student development have spent some time this summer really talking about how do we partner at a greater level with our students and our parents to ensure that they understand what coming to school 95% of the time means. And you'll hear a little bit more about that later on this week. Our third goal is a new one. We talked a little bit about strategy last year as we approach a variety of goals. We've come to, in my second year in the academy, spend a lot of time last year really listening, learning, looking at data, truly trying to understand the last 24 years of Esperanza Academy. I'd like to engage in that work deeper with all of you, with students and parents, as we start thinking about the future of Esperanza Academy. So it is our goal that by the end of the year, we will have a 3 to 5 year strategic plan that will inform the future of our organization. And our fourth goal, which is spelled out clearly in our mission and vision, is to enhance our K-12 bilingual bicultural programming. And our hope to do that this school year is by looking at the resources that we have available to students in K through 12, right? And then we want to make sure that we increase at least 25% of our resources to ensure that they are culturally relevant and that our materials and resources are culturally responsive in alignment to the students that we serve. We also recognize that we need to spend some time together to talk about what does this mean and to develop all of you around this work. So we are planning at least 3 professional development sessions to talk about what does bilingual and bicultural programming mean and how you in your space can support what our mission calls us to do.
A new year is about to start, a year full of possibility and hope. But this year, we're not just coming back, We're moving forward. We're expanding. We're growing. And together, we're reaching new heights. Every educator, support staff member, every role, every voice. You're not just part of this school, you are essential to it. We lead with integrity, modeling courage, compassion, and consistency in every interaction. We are fueled by hope. Hope in the potential of every student, every classroom, and every new beginning. And we remain committed to excellence, not just in test scores or outcomes, but in creating a culture where every child feels known, valued, and inspired to grow. This year is special. It's bold. It's filled with opportunity. And it starts with us.
Welcome, Esperanza teachers and staff. Are you ready to have another amazing year? I hope you are, because this year it's gonna have a whole lot of new stuff. So be ready.
Let's give it up to our communications team for doing an amazing job with this.
About to start. A year.
And by the way, that is one of our students at the end. I do have to say that when Stephanie sent this over, I said, well, thank you. I'm a bag full of tears right now. Nothing does it to me than to see our students striving. You did that. Those of you that are returning, this is your work, right? We got to remember that. This is the outcome, right? This is what we have to keep in mind. That should be our purpose. That should be our why, right? And again, we're going to continue to hear this over and over this school year. You matter. You matter. We matter. We have to do this together. With that said, again, our core values. Students will always be at the center. In the toughest decisions, the toughest time, we have to put the children in the center. That should be what should be driving us as we move forward in the academy. And again, shared this already, we'll continue to say, the most important resource in a school system are the people doing the work. The students engaged in instruction, the teachers that are standing, you that are standing in front of the students, our operational staff that is viewing us. We're streaming this morning. We have our operational staff in another area because we've gotten so large, we don't fit in here anymore. But, everybody matters. Everyone is equally important. We are the village. We are part of that village that will impact our students. With that said, if you are a new staff member here or in the middle school class cafeteria, please stand up. Let's give them a big welcome. Welcome to Esperanza Academy. We had over 141 new staff members with us in the last 2 weeks. Just know that is the Esperanza way. After about 3 weeks, they stop. In Esperanza, they forget that you're no longer new, right? I still feel new after a year and a week, but you're no longer new. You're now adopted. You're a part of our family. Again, every row, every person, every moment counts. And with that said, I'd like to take the moment to introduce our amazing staff who have been here throughout the summer, thinking, eating, sleeping, thinking about today and the year moving forward. We have some new leadership members that I'd like to introduce, and we have some leadership members that are returning. So I'd like to take this moment as I call each and every one, if you can please stand up and come up here so that everyone can see you. We do have folks in the cafeteria. So starting with shared services. What is shared services? Shared services are some of the directors that their role is to serve in service of each division in the academy. The elementary division, the middle school division, and the high school division. Our job is to be in service of the K-12, K-14, if we want to include, the supports we provide in Esperanza Early College. But our role is to be in service of the Esperanza Academy. So I'm going to lightly introduce, because she will be here later, but I'm going to ask Ms. Randy Davila, our new CAO, Deputy Superintendent of Academics, to come up, followed by Karen, our Director of ELD, Christy, Director of Special Education. We have Dr. Venable, our Director of Mathematics. We have Abby, our Director of Teacher and Leadership Development, and Marina Byrne-Folin, our Director of Student Performance and Support. This team here are members of shared services that are highly focused on the academic side of the academy. Following with our operational side of shared services, I'd like to call up Alicia, our Director of Operations. And she is probably in the cafeteria on the other side. We have Joanna, our Director of Educational Technology. Jalissa, our Director of Talent. Lori Walensky, our Director of Student Success. Rebecca, Director of Student Services. Jorge Calixto, Director of Student Experience and Partnerships. Dr. Palladino, who is now transitioning to Director of College Engagement and Interdisciplinary Learning. I think you all know, for our new folks, Jesse, everyone knows Jesse very well. Is Jesse here? Followed by Lydia, who joined us last year, my executive assistant, and Francisco Ortega, who is our financial. These are folks that work behind the scenes, but they work day and night. Francisco Ortega is our financial operations coordinator. So these are our directors, K through 12, again, who are in service. We stand here in service of you. I do want to take the opportunity right now. I acknowledge all of our new staff. Again, I mentioned we have about over 141 new staff members. I do not want to take us to take lightly the work that the talent team has done. So I want to acknowledge Jalissa. Jalissa, can you please move forward? And then I'm going to ask, is Saran, is your team here?
Saran is in the back. Can you guys give it up for Saran and Irene now?
And I'm going to ask Jalissa to talk a little bit what this last year has been. Hiring, right? And I do have to say, we do have, our DOIs, DSDs, some teachers, and other support staff have supported, right? Once the talent team has done the initial phases of interviewing, then it's turned over to the division, and then so I don't want to discredit, right, the work that is happening in the division, elementary, middle, and high, in the hiring. But what happens behind the scene, the work that Jalissa has led this past year, many don't know. So I do want her, I asked her to prepare a quick summary of this past year, of what they had to do behind the scene to get 141 new staff members here. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here today. I'm going to try to go really quickly, but recruitment is everybody's job. And I want to thank a lot of you in this room that participated in recruiting and referring friends and getting them here. So behind the scenes, what does it take to hire about 140 people? So it takes sourcing about 2,230 people who got whittled down to 1,600 people that got screened. That means that the talent team screened 1,600 resumes. That's what that means. And then out of the 1,690, we had 398 first-time interviews, which the talent team does, right? Those are the Habermans. For those of you who met with Saran and Irina, that was your first step with us. From 398, we went down to 189 interviews, second round. That means with all of the leadership team. So kudos to the leadership team. You guys did almost 200 interviews this year. Gina, you probably ate the bulk of that. And then we sent out 100, about 31, 32 offer letters. We have a couple more roles remaining. 57 of our staff came from referrals. So if you were in this room, you participated in this giant lift, but I would be remiss if I didn't say one more time, I did not do this by myself. The real heroes in this year are Saran and Irina, so if you guys could give it up for my team, that would be great.
Thank you very much. So, thank you. You can go have a seat. Let's see what's next. We're going to move now to the divisions. Let's bring up Gina, Director of Instruction for Elementary. Come on up. Followed by Mark. And our new DSD of Elementary, Selena Velez. Welcome. All right. Next, we have our middle school leaders. So middle school we're small and mighty in representation here this morning. We're going to begin with our wonderful DSD, Miriam Arroyo. Please stand up. We also have a new DSD, Xiomara Rodriguez. Can you come up so everyone can see who you are? You here? There she goes. And later on this afternoon, we will meet our new Director of Instruction for the middle school. Her name is Lillian Izzard, as well as Ja Kafi McKenzie, who is our third DSD for the middle school. You'll get to meet them later on. Thank you. We'll now move on to our high school leadership team. Our Director of Instruction, Joanna Giraldo. Ninth grade DSD, Tina Cruz. 10th grade, Nathaniel. 11th grade, Jonathan Young. And 12th grade, Justin Grow. We know who So the new folks, you could tell what the live division is, right? And high school's in the house? Where's middle school? Elementary. Okay, elementary, I know you're new. But last year, there were about 15 elementary staff members, and they were louder than that. Elementary, where you at? One thing you're going to know about me, it doesn't take a lot to get me wired. So high school does that to me. Welcome, high school division. Thank you. All right, so just going to share very quickly some of our outcomes. I did know earlier that we have seen some success. You're going to hear a little bit more about this throughout the week in your division meetings. But in terms of attendance, you can see that for some grades, we definitely met our goal of 75% of our students attending 90% or more. You can see the dark blue is where we, kindergarten, I'm going to point out the grades where we met the goal. So shout out to kindergarten. second grade, third grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade. Shout out. Where y'all shouting out at? K-3 division, congratulations, 77.8%. Middle school, 76%. High school, we're gonna get there this year, correct? All right. All right, historical PSSA data. We have work to do, ladies and gentlemen. We really do. We're gonna celebrate, right, that we move forward a little bit. We're gonna celebrate that. We'll take it. But we have major work to do. And if anybody can do this, it is us. Okay, there is no doubt in my mind or the leadership team that you saw up here that there's no doubt that we have the capacity, the skill, the energy to meet and exceed the goals that we have set before us. Okay, so we're happy to report that for PSSA, our math proficiency rates have increased for ELA. For math, we went from 4.3 to 5.1, which is, we're glad we increased. We got work to do. Do you agree? We have a lot of work to do. ELA proficiency rates, we went from 17.9 to 24%. Again, we'll take it. We're moving forward, but we have a lot of work to do. We're creating the systems, the structures, providing you the resources to do this work. We're going to partner up with parents in a deeper level to ensure they're bringing us their students on a daily basis. And I have no doubt that next year at this time, we're going to be here with balloons celebrating the increases that we're making, the impact that we're making in student outcomes next year. Keystone, same thing. We're going to celebrate the progress, but we got a lot of work to do. For Algebra 1 proficiency rates, we went from 28.1% of our students passing Keystone to 28.3. Biology, we went from 22.2 to 27.5, about a 5% increase there. We'll take it, much more work to do there. And literature, we went from 50%, we dipped a little bit there, to 46.2. We are, again, have created plans. We hope to start implementing them immediately and to work with you specifically on Wednesdays. That's why this time is so important, that we are normed in terms of what rigorous instruction looks like, that we're consistently looking at student data to inform our practice. These are our goals for this year. Once again, I talked about them about 20 minutes ago, so we're going to breeze through them. You're going to see them over and over again. At this time, I'd like to turn this over to Randy Davila. Ms. Davila, as I mentioned before, has joined us as the Deputy CEO of Academics / Chief Academic Officer. And I'm going to let her introduce herself and so that you can hear from her directly who she is. I can tell you that I've had the privilege and honor to work with Randy in our previous role. She is one of the strongest instructional leaders I have met in my 34 years in education. I can't stress enough how honored I feel to consider her my colleague again, and I'm truly excited in how we're going to work with all of you in this upcoming year and the upcoming years, so that together we can truly have a greater impact in the lives of the children that we serve here in the Hunting Park section of Philadelphia. So let's give Randy a welcome to Esperanza Academy.
Thank you, Dr. Nunez. So, oh, that's a pretty intense green button. Got it. Okay. So thank you all. I thought I knew why I was really excited to be here. I've been here for about a month, and I thought I knew why I was excited until this morning. And watching that video that was playing got me even more excited to join this team. And then hearing all of the energy from each and every one of you, I know I'm in the right place. So I want to come up here today and talk to you a little bit about our academic initiatives and a little more about what Wednesday afternoons with our PLCs will look like, because I know there's a lot of interest in that. But before I do that, I want to go a little bit into who I am and why I'm actually very passionate to stand in front of you today leading this academic work. So my why. I'm going to just read this to you because this resonated with me so much, not only because I truly believe that your job is the most impactful that a child will experience in their career, in their educational careers, but because I've experienced firsthand the positive and negative impacts of teachers in my life. So a teacher's influence extends far beyond the classroom. They shape not only what students know, but also who they believe they can become. Like I said, I've had this firsthand from both sides. So I know and I truly believe you all in this room make a difference in the lives of our children. Forget the bangs. My husband, this was my husband, believe it or not, who was with me at my high school graduation. He was like, that's not me. I don't know who's standing there. It's not me. So I swear I'll put a current picture one time. I've been in education for 25 years. 15 of it has been in this community. The community that I choose again and again to serve in, the community that I believe in, and that I cannot wait to roll up my sleeves again with all of you to do this work. But like I said, 15 years here. And this high school graduation picture is more than just a typical graduation picture. So I'm going to go a little bit about, I entered into Northeast into the magnet program. For those of you that don't know, the magnet program is a special admit program for students that show academic performance and a lot of potential, which means I had the ability to do the work, right? I was there for a reason. And that reason was because my K-8 experience was so strong. I had a really strong family support system. I had teachers that took time and invested in me. I had relationships with them. Not only because teachers typically do that, but I was going through a lot of struggles when I was in elementary school. My father was diagnosed with cancer in his 30s. And because of that, we know that that brings a certain level of challenges to any student, right? Any young student. And my teachers are the ones that supported me and made sure during the time that I was not with my family that I was successful. Made sure that I was the best student I could be to enter into a program like the magnet program at Northeast. And then I got to Northeast High School, and those of you that know, it's pretty much the size of a city, right? Thousands and thousands of students, and I felt that. I was a number. I did not have any of the relationships that I'd grown used to and familiar with in my elementary experience. I struggled through the 9th grade year, barely made it, and then my 10th grade year hit, and in February, my father passed away. And we know, those of you who are in high school know what happens in February, right? Around that time, it's those midterm assessments. And I took the week off to grieve with my family. And the day I got back to school, I sat down, and there was a midterm assessment sitting on my desk. And when I explained to my teacher why I didn't feel prepared to take it, why I wasn't ready, that assessment stood there. So I saw they felt a little something like, oh, we're sorry, but the assessment still stayed there. But guess who didn't stay there? I didn't. I got up and I walked out. And once I walked out that day, I kept walking out of that class. I didn't return to that class. And I barely returned to school. Most of my time was spent at the Burger King across the street, or that American food store, for those of you that know the community. That's where I spent my time, right? So my high school years were really challenging. I did not have, and once that happened, and once I spent my time in the surrounding community, nobody even noticed. Nobody called my house. Nobody came looking for me. Nobody asked why. If it was not for the people in this picture, my friends, my family, I would not be standing in front of you today. Going from a support system that I had in elementary school and then going into an experience like this showed me how powerful the work each and every one of you do is. And when I say each and every one of you, I'm not only talking about the people sitting in this room. I'm talking about the people that are also sitting in the middle years cafeteria right now. Because I remember Mr. Bill was the person that worked the elementary yard. Every single day he greeted me and slapped me 5 and knew when I wasn't there to ask about me and what I was experiencing. So it's every person in this academy, not just in this room, that matter and make a difference in the lives of our children every single day. And I want you to remember that once our children come back next week. They need you. I knew after both of those experiences what I was supposed to be doing with my life. I knew there was not a doubt that I wanted to be a teacher after that. So I went to college, got my degree, and then had 2 job offers. One job offer was right down the block at McClure Elementary School. The other job offer by a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we set high expectations for our children. Our children will rise to the occasion. When they know that someone is there for them, when they know someone knows and believes in them, they will rise to that occasion. So that is the challenge for each and every one of you in this academy today. How many of you are up for it? We up for it? All right. All right. I know I'm up for it, and I can't wait because day 1, Gina, I'm coming to your school, and I'm meeting my friend from that video on day 1. Okay, now I'm going to go over a little bit about how we're going to do this work and our academic initiatives for this year. Okay, when we think about effective leadership, we can't leave out strong systems. We know every great leader has a really strong systems support in their school, right? When we think about the academy and our academic goals, Dr. Nunez put up the goals that we're going to be working towards this year, collectively. It will be on everything we do. Those goals and exact numbers that we will unpack at our first, actually in September, we have a date already assigned where we're gonna unpack all of the actual numbers. And every single person in this academy needs to know that and needs to understand that. Because we can't work towards something if we don't know what that something is, right? And through the year, how do we know if we're making the appropriate growth if we don't know what we're working towards? So we will make sure that every single person knows, what does 95% attendance mean? What does that mean to a child? What does that mean to you? Does it mean the same thing? So we will be crystal clear on every single goal that we are collectively working towards, whether we're from shared services, school leadership teams, or teachers and support staff teams. We will all know where we want to be in June so that we can progress monitor as the year goes on to understand, are we doing the right thing? Are we making the appropriate growth? And if not, that's fine too. We're not always going to get it, but we have to understand how to make adjustments so that we do progress accordingly. So then I have here a little bit very high level of what we're going to be doing and the role of each of these main teams. So we have our support teams, our shared support, and they're the people that were here up here that Dr. Nunez called up this morning. The role of the shared support is to do exactly that, support every single one of you. In the divisions, in the schools, our job is to support you, but in a uniform way, to understand the systems that we have, the structures, the supports, the resources, the tools that we're equipping you with, are they the same? Right? Do they do the same things? Do we speak the same language across the entire organization? So our job from a bird's eye view is to support you in a uniform way that we can all speak the same language. And then those supports, those systems, those structures, the frameworks that we're going to be working within, we think about from a school leadership perspective. School leadership teams know their school communities the deepest. They know the teaching staff, the support staff, the students, the families, and they understand, how do I take those systems that were created for the entire academy and make it right for my school community? Make whatever modifications with still keeping the integrity of the system for the people sitting in your building. And absent of feedback from school leadership teams, we can't create the appropriate systems for you all. We have to understand what is happening, so that two-way communication is key for continuous improvement. And then we go down to the teachers and support staff. Research says you all are the #1 in-school faculty, but what is it, right? MTSS is truly about 3 tiers of thinking about how do we proactively understand who our children are and what our children need. And right now, based on the data that you saw from summative assessments, we're a little lopsided. We have more students that are showing a need for intensive interventions and support than are actually at grade level and working on grade level. Our job, my job, our collective job is to change that. And how do we do that? We have to spend time. You see that blue arrow? It's at tier 1. That is what every single child gets. That is the initial teaching that we do in our classrooms each and every day. We have to strengthen our tier 1 systems of our high quality, standards aligned instructional opportunities that we provide students with every day. We have to make sure that they are rigorous, because when we do it right the first time, there's less need for intervention after that. So this year is going to be designated for improving tier 1. 2 main strategies to do that. PLCs. We already know that the Academy has prioritized Wednesday afternoons. That work is not about just students. It's about students, right? It's about students because we're always centered on our children, but it's also about developing our adults, building the capacity of every single person in this room so that when you stand in front of your children with your math content, with your science content, your ELA content, you are as best prepared as you can be to introduce those concepts and that information to your students. So that's about adult learning for student results for those PLC sessions. We're also going to focus and make sure that our children and yourselves have access to high quality instructional materials. Not just any instructional materials. Not just going to Google and Googling things that we see. While that's really, it's great to do sometimes, it can't be the end-all be-all. We have to make sure that we are hitting the standards that our children are going to see on PSSA, on Keystone assessments, so that when I get that booklet in front of me, I know what to do. My teachers have equipped me with a toolbox of resources that I can pull from, and the things that I'm seeing on those assessments are no different than the things that I'm seeing on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays throughout the year. So we're going to be having 2 main areas that we're working with this year. PLCs and ensuring that our resources are of high quality and standards aligned. With that, we're not going to forget about the need for Tier 2 and Tier 2 interventions. We will still be talking about who our children are. What does the data show us and tell us? And how do we best support those children? But our primary focus will be supporting each other and building our collective capacity to stand in front of our children. So on Wednesday afternoons, we're going to come together. We're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to do that hard work together. And then you see around the bottom that goes across this whole circle. Continuous improvement. Strong observation feedback cycles and coaching cycles, meaning I'm not coming into classrooms to judge you. I'm not coming into classrooms to say, oh, this is all wrong. Coming into classrooms to say, I love that you took the learning from Wednesday afternoons, and I'm already seeing it come to life in your classroom on Friday. I'm already seeing you change practice and implement some of the best practices that we collectively learned at the table on Wednesday afternoon. So we will all be focused on an observation feedback cycle where we are continually in classrooms to understand where are we at, what is going well, and what are some additional things that we at the shared services and school leadership teams need to do a little bit differently to better support you all. PLCs, that's the big topic. I've been asked PLCs. I've been here about a month. I've been asked about PLCs over and over, right? I'm not bringing a packaged PLC packet to Esperanza because you're very different than the PLC work that I've done before in my career. And I need to make sure that we're creating systems, structures, frameworks for you all. So you're going to be part of building that process. So from September, let's talk first. Richard DeFore describes PLCs as really focusing on 3 main ideas, right? It's the learning, because we know learning has to happen. It's the collaboration of everybody doing the work, and it's the actual results. It's the outcomes, because teaching and learning go hand in hand. If the results aren't there and the outcomes aren't there, there's something wrong with all of the input. So that's the 3 main ideas. And you see the mission of the PLC is to strengthen Tier 1 practice through intentional collaboration, aligned planning, and ongoing professional development. So we're going to do this work together. We're going to start it in September. And September is going to be designated to really think about our new assessment platform, the STAR. Every single student in the academy will be taking the STAR. We're going to be understanding and analyzing that data to say who's sitting in front of me. How do I look at these assessment results to make some instructional, intentional decisions for the children that are in front of me in my classroom? Then we're going to move on in October to really think about planning. Am I planning lessons that truly touch who's in front of me? Am I asking myself the right questions? Where are the misconceptions going to be? How do I best prepare intellectually myself to do this work alongside my children when I develop this content in my lesson plans? Then November and December, we're going to be giving you some frameworks to utilize in your classrooms. And we're going to come back and say, give us feedback. What do we think? Did we get it right? Did we listen to you? Did we get it right? Or do we need to make some changes? And what kind of changes do we need to make and why? We want to have a successful launch, a formal launch in January. And like I said, everything that we do from September until December will lead up to that formal launch. But again, I'm not bringing something in a package deal. You will hear the work that we talk about at those Wednesday sessions in that formal PLC development process so that it is truly developed for you in mind, for our students in mind. And I am ending with how I started. I am super excited to be here. I cannot think of a better place to do this work from what I saw in the past month. So thank you for allowing me to join you, and I am going to turn this back over to Dr. Nunez.
Thank you, Mrs. Davila. Okay, so we're going to review what's going to happen the rest of the week. We are currently engaged in our Welcome Back mission and values and updates of what this school year will look like. Some of that will continue in your division meetings. Our talent team is going to go transition to get ready for you all. We're going to meet our new team members. We started doing that this morning as well. You're going to have ample time. We know, especially for our instructional staff, you come back first day, we talk all this stuff, but you're thinking about my classroom. So we hear you, we understand. We're going to give you some time to do that today and throughout the week. We're going to have opportunities for lesson planning, team meetings this week, some professional development or some work that we have done in the past, right? And some new initiatives like the STAR assessment that Mrs. Davila just talked about. We're also going to be providing breakfast every morning. We want to make sure that you're well fed so that you have the energy you need throughout the day. And then we're going to spend some time on Thursday officially celebrating the beginning of our 25th year of Esperanza Academy and the grand opening ceremony of the elementary school, which will take place on Thursday. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Palladino, who is going to introduce our fearless leader of Esperanza.
Thank you. And again, thank you to Dr. Nunez and Randy for setting this up and looking forward to all the things that are happening the upcoming year. So, Rev Luis Cortez. In many ways, Rev Cortez hardly needs an introduction. I'm not sure if you remember last year for this event, he simply said, prior to the gathering, he whispered to me and said, just tell them I'm a good guy. And that was it. So I did. I kept the introduction to merely, here's a really good guy. And then he came out. But hold on, I'm not done. But because, Rev Luis, that there are so many new people here who don't know who you are, I'm gonna read a little bit about your background. So Rev Luis was born in I'm kidding. These are just some highlights over his career. He founded Esperanza, the Esperanza Corporation in 1986. He's sought by national and international leaders on everything from economic and workforce development, housing, immigration, and of course, education. He's the author of 5 books. He prayed at the invocation luncheon for President Barack Obama's inauguration ceremony. He's appeared on several television, radio, and print media outlets. Again, these are, for those of you who are new to Esperanza, this list can go on and on. These are just the highlights. Washington Week, Time, the Lair NewsHour, L'Opinion, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and the Washington Post. He holds several master's degrees and a couple of honorary doctorates. Now back to the official introduction. Since last year, when Rev told me to introduce him as a good guy, I've actually had the privilege of having several opportunities to get to know him even better. We've had some really great conversations in the last year. I found that he is a man of integrity who cares deeply about our students, the school, the mission, the community, the city, our Commonwealth, and our nation. There's so much more to say, but I'll keep his request. Here's not a good guy. Here's a really great guy.
Thanks, Chris. All right. I need all of you to stand up and stretch, because I actually am going to do a serious speech, which I never do. But just stretch. Reach up. Do what you do with your kids sometimes, you know. And I'm going to put this back here so I don't step on it. All right. So while you're still standing and stretching, and some of you are taking this opportunity to get out of the room, while we're doing that, let me tell you my name. I'm Luis Antonio Vega Polanco Cortez Jr. That's my Latino name. Growing up, I was Louis in Spanish in Black Harlem. So I have some opening statements, which are real quick, background items, and then I literally prepared something a little bit more serious because our times have become a little more serious. So the opening statements, parking. Everyone, we will have parking available for everyone in 2 weeks. Those of you who've been here a long time know that 2 weeks is more like 2 months. But in the near future, we will have parking available to everyone, and everyone will actually have an assigned spot. So, yes. You say that now, but you will have a sticker on your car window. And if you put your car in the wrong place, it could get towed. And I could already hear, how dare you tow my car? But that parking conversation has to take place because of the second item, which is construction. We're putting up our fancy, beautiful fence, which we had promised for 5 years. It's going up. That fence cost $1 million. $1 million. And I hope you like it. The construction is going on. The elementary school has been completed. Anyone who's been here more than 15 years knows we've been after this school for about 19 years. So we finally got there, and on Thursday we're going to have a party in the streets. We're inviting the parents and the children, and then there'll be dignitaries here, and we're going to try to not get run over on Honey Park Avenue. The city's closing the avenue, but if you see how cars drive, I'm a little uptight about it myself. But we are closing down Hunting Park Avenue in the morning, and we're going to have a party right in front of the school. So that's pretty cool. For those of you who are teachers at the elementary school, we purchased La Fortaleza, which is right across the street from, it's a mall right across the street, small community mall. But we cannot take all their parking spaces. So if you're a teacher at the elementary school, please have a conversation with the school leadership, because we only have parking there for about, I think, 25, 30 cars until we can make further arrangements across the street and in some other areas. Please do not fill up. There's a clinic there. There's a physical therapist there. There's a pharmacy there. I do want to say 2 businesses that we've recruited. One is the Freedom Credit Union, and it's called Freedom Credit Union. It is the old, historically, it's a bank, but historically, it's the teachers' credit union. So they've always supported and have worked with teachers. So we thought the number one employment we provide is for teachers. So the teachers' credit union will be there and there to serve you. And Jefferson, though it's not totally official yet, it looks like Jefferson's going to build a wellness center. So they will be working with us to keep us well. I always want to honor people who've been with us for years. If you've been here 15 years or more and you're in this room, please stand up. There's a few of you. I see you. All right. So if you don't know anything about anything in a particular moment and you see one of them, do not ask them. They've only been here for, no, that's a joke. It's all right, it's all right. Thank you. 10 years or more? Big group, all right. Last but not least, 5 years or more. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So I said I was going to be a little different in that I was going to be a little bit more serious. And I had the opportunity, Dr. Palladino was mentioning, I had the opportunity to speak at an event for Founding Forward, which is an organization that is that is founded by the Union League of Philadelphia. And I had an opportunity to speak there, and in preparation for that, I realized this is something that maybe we should be talking about a little bit more, and why not start today? So I want to say good morning, everybody. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak to you today, and I want to focus on something that is often overlooked in our educational journeys that to me is of paramount importance. It's important to our young people, it's important for our classrooms, and this is said a lot, but I'm really serious about it. It's going to be important for our country. We need to teach our students not just how to gather information and memorize information, but we need to create frameworks of understanding. And these frameworks of knowledge, of understanding, are in certain areas that I think are really important for our country. Understanding what is knowledge. Understanding what exists. Now that sounds weird, right? Because this exists. But understanding what's behind the statement that exists. And understanding of civic life. What does it mean to be part of civic life? I want to highlight what's important to teach and what I need you to teach as you do all these things that we've been talking about and you prepare for your classrooms. And there's 2 words I'm going to use, which if you don't know them, it's cool, because no one here knows you don't know them. But when you leave here, check them out, because they're very important. I need you to teach what are the definitions of epistemology and ontology. And I need you to teach what is epistemology and what is ontology alongside the principles of liberal democracy. Don't worry about it if you don't know what it means, because you can Google it as soon as I leave. But I need you to teach it alongside the principles of liberal democracy and the practice of critical thinking. The practice of critical thinking. I want to ground these ideas in the culture and lived experience of inner city Latino youth, whose voices, stories, and ways of knowing deserve to be central in our teaching, right? They have their ontology. They have their epistemology. They understand what exists a certain way. And we need to begin with that, epistemology and ontology. Epistemology asks, how do we know what we know? And we are now living in a world where there are alternative facts. Alternative facts. Not an alternative interpretation of a fact, but an alternative fact. Ontology asks, what is real and what exists? These may sound like abstract philosophical ideas, but they are essential tools to our students. Too often we assume that young people will naturally pick up how knowledge is created or formed and how reality is defined. But they don't, and many will not unless we help them. By teaching epistemology, we invite students to see that knowledge is not neutral. Knowledge is not neutral. It is shaped by power, history, and perspective. By teaching ontology, we invite them to consider identity, belonging, their own place in the world, and how to interpret and create their own epistemology. These concepts are especially powerful for inner city Latino youth. At the floor, you don't look at a person in the eye. If my aunt, my mother, a senior person said to me, Luisito, which means little Louis, which means I'm already in trouble, and I look him in the eye, that's called defiance in the Hispanic culture. How dare you defy me? Now, when I was in the second grade, I didn't know how to say professor or teacher. You don't understand. We're having a cultural clash here. Cultural anthropology would tell you that you should understand. But assisting our students to understand the language of epistemology and ontology allows them to make sense of two worlds. I'm going to talk a little bit more about these two worlds. And to see that their ways of knowing are in fact valid. It is valid to look down when corrected by someone in authority who's a senior to you. If you feel right that what I just said is weird, that means you're out of context in a Hispanic culture. That's all it means. It doesn't mean you're right or wrong. But it also means every time you've challenged a child and they've looked at the floor and you screamed at them to look you in the eye, you were wrong because you were the adult. You are the one that did not understand their ontology, what exists and how it functions. My second point is that it deals with liberal democracy and critical thinking. Liberal democracy, so I want to define it briefly, so we're all on the same page, because there are alternative facts these days. Liberal democracy is a form of government that protects, okay, start there. Form of government that protects individual rights, is guided by the rule of law, and depends on free and fair elections. It emphasizes freedom of expression, equality under the law, and accountability of leaders to the people. It is liberal because it protects personal freedoms, and it is democratic because it requires active participation by citizens in shaping collective decisions. Most of our students do not experience this in their life, What they do experience is systemic inequities. Understanding liberal democracy is not just a lesson in government. It's a way of seeing themselves as part of a democratic process and a way for them to pass judgment on how society's passing judgment on them. Society in liberal democracies consistently, in what we call America today in a liberal democracy, is passing judgment on them constantly on what is their value to the collective. That's exactly what happens to them too. And this is where critical thinking becomes essential. Critical thinking is the ability to ask good questions. This is important. Critical thinking is the ability to ask good questions, to evaluate evidence, to separate fact from opinion, and to recognize bias or manipulation. It is the skill of not taking things at face value, but probing deeper to understand why something is being said, who is saying it, and what assumptions are behind it. I want to say this again, because there's very little critical thinking happening in the United States of America. Very little. And we need our young people, our kids who are in middle school and high school, will be defending this country in about 5 to 7 years. It will be their decision what type of country we're going to be. Critical thinking is the ability to ask good questions, to evaluate evidence, to separate fact from opinion, to recognize bias or manipulation. It is the skill of not taking things at face value, but probing deeper to understand why something is being said, who is saying it, and what assumptions are behind it. In a democracy, critical thinking is not optional. It is the foundation of the nation. Without it, citizens can be misled by misinformation, swayed by prejudice, or manipulated by those in power. With it, citizens can hold leaders accountable, engage in meaningful debate, and protect the values of equality and freedom. For inner-city Latino youth, critical thinking provides tools to navigate a society where their voices are often overlooked. It equips them to challenge stereotypes, to question systemic injustice, and to see themselves as active agents of change. It's not an academic skill. It is a skill for the survival of our nation. So when we teach critical thinking alongside of epistemology, ontology, and liberal democracy, we're teaching students how to think for themselves and how to think with others in order to strengthen a shared society. This understanding needs to be grounded in Latino youth culture. I mentioned how Latino youth react differently to authority when they're challenged, right? They look down if their parents are first generation, by the way. Do not let a fourth generation Latino tell you, oh, I looked at the floor. No, because by the time they get to high school, they figure it out. So they'll figure out that's the third one. That's usually only 3. The outlier will be number 4. That's the outlier. So usually you'll see that when the culture needs to be grounded in Latino youth culture, our understanding. And Latino youth will react differently to authority in power when challenged. Our lessons should not be totally abstract. They have to be grounded in culture and in the experience of our students. Inner city Latino youth bring with them incredible cultural wealth. That was the outlier. It's okay. Normally when we do an event here at night and there's events here, right? It's the fourth one that's the rare one. The first 3 are normative. I should have mentioned it. Anyway, inner city Latino youth bring with them incredible cultural wealth, bilingualism, creativity, resilience, and deep family and community network. I want to say something about resilience, right? Nobody gives credit for resilience, except one organization in the United States. Would you guess who that is? The United States military. They do studies on youth all the time. You know who's rated number 1? inner city minority kids, black and brown, which is why they recruit them more. Because black and brown kids are resilient and figure things out on their own. They figure out how to survive. It's innate. It's a shame, but that's how this country sees them. They're number one at being soldiers, at being trained to be soldiers. So our kids face significant challenges: poverty, discrimination, the whole immigration thing, which now says if you're Hispanic, you better have an ID because you're going to be stopped. Poverty. Too often, schools misunderstand or undervalue youth culture. Understanding the constructs of Spanish language in the development of culture is of so much importance, yet most schools overlook it. So I want to stop here and say a little bit more. Two ways of life, no one way is better, right? We're talking about Latino culture or Spanish culture or colonial culture versus a technological culture, right? Agrarian culture. So what's an agrarian culture, right? You can work the land, but if it doesn't rain, you die. It has to rain. There's got to be water. A technological culture has the concept that with enough time and money, we can overcome and create water, right? So that's technology. No one is right, but it leads. These two cultures clash constantly. We don't see it because you're usually, if you're thinking in a particular language, that's how you function. That's your epistemology and your ontology is based in what you think. So I'm going to give you an example. Who here does not know who Clint Eastwood? I got to ask because he's kind of old now. But anyway, early on, he used to do movies, right? He used to be a cowboy. He was the quintessential American cowboy. And they would show a film where there'll be a town full of Mexicans, men and women. And the men were always dressed with these like white pants that only come up to here, right? Sandals and a white frock with a hat, with a Mexican hat. And 5 bad gringos would come into a town with 50 or 60 men and take over the town. Actually, the last movie he did was the most famous, called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. If you want to reference it, look up The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and you'll see it. So these 5 bad gringos would come into town, literally rape women, take over the bar, kill the humble Mexican men. And then out of nowhere, you will hear this music. Da-na-na-na-na-na. And it was one bad gringo with 2 guns. What allowed that movie to be made? That an entire town of 75 people could be taken over by 5 bad guys. More importantly, I'm going to talk to you the culture. By the way, the answer is the culture clash. Technology versus agrarian society. So I'm going to give you one more example. If I'm running to the airport and the plane I'm supposed to be on flies overhead, and I'm thinking in Spanish, the actual statement is, anda, el avión me dejó. Now I'm going to translate that. The people who speak Spanish know what the hell I'm talking about already. I'm going to translate that literally. Oh, damn, the plane left me. The plane left me. The fact that I'm an hour late is irrelevant because que será, será. Right? You remember que será, será? That song? Whatever will be, will be. That is an American judgment, an Anglo-American judgment on Latino-American culture. Que será, será. By the way, we do that to Asians. We do that to Africans. We do that to African Americans, because they all come from agrarian societies. Now, most of our kids cannot say to you what I just told you, but now you are responsible for it, because that's how we can unlock some serious movement in those numbers you want to move and that I need you to move. So, I'm coming to the home stretch, folks. Liberal democracy relies on critical thinkers to foster and defend it. When we teach epistemology, ontology, democracy, and critical thinking, we must do it in ways that honors their experiences. That means using examples from their communities. It means incorporating Latino thinkers, African American thinkers, artists, and activists into our curriculum. It means encouraging students to ask, how does my culture, my language, and my reality shape what I know? Shape what I know and how I live. By doing so, we just don't validate their identities. We empower them to see themselves as knowledge makers and civic actors. My kids went to a very expensive school in the suburbs. It was assumed that they would go to college. It was assumed that they were going to be leaders in the country. Nobody ever dared to put my children down. Don't do it here. Do not do it here. So let me close with this. Our task as educators is not only to teach content, but to give students frameworks for living, for questioning, and for participating in the world. Epistemology and ontology will help them understand how knowledge and existence are defined. Liberal democracy and critical thinking give them the civic and intellectual tools to act. And when these ideas are taught in connection with the culture of Latino youth, our students, we, the Hispanic clergy of Philadelphia, fought for the building of Edison. We fought for bilingual education when it wasn't had in the city. So we have supported public education in a myriad of ways. We fought for Clemente to be built as well. So I'm going to mention 10 things that you have that I know most teachers in my neighborhood do not have. You know, that's the perfect song. You know, that song is from, what's the name of that TV? Anyway. So we're dedicated to this. So I'm going to mention 10 things that I want you to start thinking about how to use. Well, 9, but I'm going to mention one first. Because I saw what Taylor School looked like. I'm going to tell you now, you have the cleanest facilities in North Philadelphia. You do. I need you. You have them because the people who clean these buildings, their children come here. They see it as taking care. Every time I talk about them, people who clean schools in the traditional system get paid more than my guys because I can't pay what they pay. But my guys are better. They just are. We have a library now with all the tech we need to have. How are you going to incorporate it if you're in the high school? We can't incorporate it all the way through, or else the college will not have a library. But I do want the library to serve the high school. You're sitting in a place where Philadanco, which is one of the top African American dance troupes historically and today, it's them and Alvin Ailey in New York. That's it. That's it. You know, Philadanco comes here once or twice a year. You know what I don't see in here? My African American and Latino students. Why? Actually, I don't see many of you either. Why? For you, it's free. For my kids, it's free. 18 and below, free. Adults 60 and above, free. If you have to pay $5, if you could afford the $5, we'll take it because we got to raise the money all the time. The Philadelphia Ballet comes here. Do you know that Esperanza? So yeah, we built it. We built it the way they would have wanted it built. This theater has held events where with an institute where we had people from India, London, and Mexico talking about AI with Puerto Ricans in North Philly. It was an amazing day. So we have a theater. We have the top musical talent, the top vocal talent, the top dance talent coming here. How are you incorporating that in your classes? How are you helping my kids understand that ballet has a lot of applications? That music has mathematical implications. And that it's just another way of listening to sound. Because, like, there's some music I don't like too. But at least expose yourself to it. We have 2 state-of-the-art gymnasiums. Not 1, but 2. Most schools don't have 1. We have a music school. The community music school's right down the hall. And it is available to all our students. I have more kids learning music from other schools at this place than my own. The next one is one that is a challenge. We own a college. And last year or 2 years ago, we had 22 young people graduate with their high school and college degree and no debt. 22. I believe that all our students, I don't care if you're a D student, I don't care if you're bad, all our students should be exposed to a college course. All of them. Because a C student might actually get turned on by the freedom of a college course and become an A student. We won't know until they go there. So how do we do that? How do we incorporate that for each and every one of our students? We own a community newspaper where our young people can write and be published professionally. I don't think any have. I think we did a couple years ago, maybe a few. Yeah, we have last year, right? So all the poetry. But we also could use photography. We also could use current events. We could, anyone who teaches can have a student participate in the newspaper. We have an art gallery where the artist comes in and is available to students. And we have used the art gallery, but not to the level we should. Esperanza's planting trees all over the hood. You may have heard we got doged. Our program got doged. We had a heat mitigation program for $500,000 to plant trees and buy air conditioners that had this special doohickey thing where, because you know, you can buy an air conditioner for a senior citizen who would die of heat, right? And you know what they'll do? They'll leave it on all day, 24 hours a day, and then at the end of the month, they have to move into the street. So we had a system whereas it was experimental, and air conditioners would go on and off, and they would actually know how much time they had. And when it went past the time that we could subsidize, it would actually shut off. So they would learn to literally harvest when to use it. Now, Doge thought that that was a Hispanic program, so it killed it. We're building a chapel for spiritual and personal reflection, and I want to talk about partnerships. I mentioned the Union League, Founding Forward, but we also have partnerships with the Franklin Institute, the Philadelphia Art Museum, with organizations that are making AI. So I'm going to end with this. Integration is up to you. I can't force integration. I could bring things to the table, and I have. I just mentioned 10. I could bring things to the table, but I can't integrate them. I need you to integrate them. I need you to be the creative power. But the more our kids experience, the more our students experience, the higher the possibility that something will spark. I've said this, and I've said this a lot of times to folks. It doesn't matter where you are at Esperanza, right? We have 780 employees. 780. I was employee number one back in 1986. And for the first 6 months, I was the only one until I got a part-time secretary. But we now have 780 something full-time. That's not counting dozens of part-timers and consultants. Sometimes I'm like, wow, I can't believe we did all this shit, all this stuff. I can't believe it. And then other times you're massively frustrated because it's so slow, it takes so long. And sometimes you like take one step forward, two back. But success depends on you. We can be, and I want to say this, the Aspen Institute, I don't know if you people know who that is, but it's a think tank. The Urban Institute, the Harlem Children's Zone, all say that we are a national model. Now, none of them have been giving me money yet. And we always need more. We're not where we need to be. Our best students now are competing with the best students of our city and our state, right? Harvard, MIT, Carnegie Mellon, our best. So we're doing at that level, we're taking our best and we're moving them where they need to go. What's going to happen with the middle and what's going to happen with the trail end? They got to be able to survive and become leaders. As this country is developing, I really believe the kids that are in our high school and our middle school will be defending this country. They'll be defending democracy. Can they intellectually do that? Only you could answer that question. I hope we answer it well. Thank you.
Reverend Cortez, before you go, just want to say a few words. So Reverend Cortez talked about critical thinking, resilience, civic activism, believing in our students' capacity. And I just want to share that he said a lot in the last 30 minutes, but what I've experienced in the last year, this is who he is every single day. This morning I talked about my leadership team and a lot of the work that they do behind the scene that you don't see on a day-to-day basis. I can't speak enough about the work that Reverend Cortez has done for the Academy, for Esperanza, and the resilience, the critical thinking, the critical action that he has taken. I mentioned this morning that we're entering our 25th year of Esperanza Academy, but over 40 years ago, he was dreaming of today, right? He was dreaming of it. It was through his critical thinking, critical action that he was doing back then that got us to today. So it's not often that we're all together in his presence. I just want to acknowledge your work, your leadership, and we take on the challenge and the 10 items that you have shared. They're not new to us. We are committed to continue to work in partnership with you and to make you proud of the work that we're doing to achieve the mission that you set before us. Thank you, Reverend Cortez. All right, we have a lot to go. We're almost done. Start with our children. We're going to end with our students. We have some students there, our Toro mascot, one of our teachers. Just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to now transition. Before you go to your, I believe you now have time for classrooms, laptops, so forth. Please be sure to stop by the doorway near the gymnasium. We do have 25-year merch. We love merch for the new folks. Another t-shirt, yes, and other great things for you. So please be sure to stop by and pick up your goodies. Thank you, everyone, and welcome back.
If you've been thinking about a degree in cybersecurity or IT, UMGC